आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क बढ़ाने वाले हम, आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क बढ़ाने वाले हम, आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क बढ़ाने वाले हम, आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम। नगर नगर ये ग्राम और ये गलियारे, भरने इनमें नवजीवन के उजियारे। नगर नगर ये ग्राम और ये गलियारे, भरने इनमें नवजीवन के उजियारे। बार बार हम दोहराते हैं यही कसम, यही कसम, यही कसम। आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क बढ़ाने वाले हम, आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क बढ़ाने वाले हम, आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम। हमें हटाना घर घर से अंधियारा है, हमें तोड़नी पाखंडों की कारा है। हमें हटाना घर घर से अंधियारा है, हमें तोड़नी पाखंडों की कारा है। सच को कहने वाली चलती रहे कलम, चलती रहे कलम। आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क बढ़ाने वाले हम, आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क बढ़ाने वाले हम, आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम। कदम मिलाकर नर नारी सब और बढ़े, ज्ञान और विज्ञान नए सोपान चढ़े। कदम मिलाकर नर नारी सब और बढ़े, ज्ञान और विज्ञान नए सोपान चढ़े। देना है संदेश यही हमको हरदम, यही हमको हरदम। आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क बढ़ाने वाले हम, आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क बढ़ाने वाले हम, आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क बढ़ाने वाले हम, आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क बढ़ाने वाले।
Good evening, everyone. I, Rashmi Verma, Senior Assistant Professor, Department of Mass Communication, Central University of Jharkhand welcomes you in All India PR Mass Communication Orientation Program organized by Public Relations Society of India. From past 6 decades, PRSI has provided a great platform for interaction among PR professionals, and this 15 days long lecture series is another great initiative by PRSI to impart their knowledge on different diversified topic of communication, and the core purpose is to reach out more and more students and practitioners of communication. So, today in this series, we are going to explore more about news literacy and fact checking. So, when I'm saying news literacy, we need to understand that it has its roots in media and information literacy. Media and information literacy is a much discussed and deliberated topic among communication scholars. And in fact, in India, we have many media educators, those who are constantly spreading awareness about media and information literacy. But it was 2005 when the National Curriculum Framework has brought media literacy into the classrooms. And from 2010 onwards, it was part of syllabus. So many high schools are deliberated upon media literacy as part of their syllabus. So we will explore more about media literacy first before dealing with news literacy. So media and information literacy is an ability to access, analyze, evaluate, and create media messages. It also enables us to interpret, understand, and respond to the information received from the diversified media platforms. So here, if we pay attention here, media literacy doesn't only talk about the receiver part, that it is required for the purpose of evaluation and analysis, but it also deals with the idea that how the messages are being created in the media itself. So it is giving attention to both, it is actually giving emphasis to the receivers end as well as the senders end. And when we look into the UNESCO's initiative, UNESCO has done remarkable initiative in the direction of media and information literacy. In fact, they had created this wonderful kind of includes a set of competencies for access, analyze, and evaluate use information wisely, and through their capacity building resources such as curriculum development, policy guidelines, and articulation and assessment framework, UNESCO has in a way supported the mill competencies among people. And this particular framework is being can understood from two important perspectives. First is information literacy, and the second one is media literacy. So when we wanted to understand that what media and information literacy is, we need to explore more about the communication need of a human being. So we know that we need information, and information today are considered as an oil. Why? Because we need data for the purpose of our work, for the purpose of taking decisions. So we need to understand that this information need is something which we require in today's era, and defining and articulating these information needs is the bottom line of information literacy. Also, information literacy talks about the ethical use of information. It not just talk about the accessibility of information, it also deals with the idea that how the accuracy of the information should be maintained, and also the ethical consideration should be there. And also, if you look into the detail here, the use of ICT skills for the information processing part is required. That means how we are going to engage the information and communication technology for the purpose of dissemination of information, so that to promote equality among the people. So UNESCO has connected this idea of information literacy, media literacy, with SDG 16, Sustainable Development Goal 16, which talks about peace, justice, and strong institutions, also deals with the idea of free expression, freedom of expression, how the persons are going to live their life happily. So it somewhere gets connected, this concept of mill somewhere gets connected into the SDG 16 also. And if we go further, dig further, then we have media literacy too. Media literacy is again a critical skills. It is about that how the media is being functioning into the society. What is the role of media into our society, and also understanding the contributions made by the media, how well the media is performing its duties. And also it deals with the idea that how the media is engaging in self-expression, democratic participation, and reviewing skills with the help of ICT as well. And why we are talking about media and information literacy in today's era, we know that media is an essential part of our lives today. It has enormous power on our society. We know that it's not just tell us that what is going on in our neighboring areas. It not just tells us that what is happening in our surroundings. It also keep us informed about national and international topics, the matters which we should know. It also works as a watchdog of society by keeping a close eye on the government as well as the important functionaries, also promotes transparency in their work. We know that today media facilitates the democratic process to ensure that all the citizens are well informed. So, in a way, media has become a vehicle or maybe as a medium between the government and its citizens, because it actually working as a communication between the two. So we will be exploring more about the communication need. So this is the foreign efforts done by UNESCO in the direction of media literacy. Now we would like to, we would be understanding more about news literacy. So when I'm saying news literacy, as I mentioned, that it is part of media and information literacy, and it is basically a critical thinking skills which is directly associated with the media content, the news. Especially, it's a skills for analyzing and judging the reliability of news, information, differentiating among facts, opinions, and assertions we consume, create, and distribute on multiple media outlets. So basically, it gives us insight that what is there inside a news story, what a news story is telling us. So basically, news literacy is considered as a critical thinking skills. And what is critical thinking? It is basically an analysis of information to form a judgment. It is basically a reasonable, reflective thinking that is focused on deciding what to believe and not to. So when I'm saying critical thinking skills, it means that we need to see information from different perspectives. We need to cross-verify the information from the various sources. Also, when we are evaluating any piece of information or maybe news, we need to see it objectively, which means that we need to keep our all the biases aside. And finally, decide that what to believe or not to. So critical thinking is a new age skills which I mentioned earlier, and news literacy provides us an edge to understand about more about media content. Now, from the perspective of masses, news literacy is a critical thinking skills which gives us an ability to access information on the basis of rational, right? But when we are seeing news and literacy from the perspective of a communication scholar or communication practitioner, we need to understand that it goes beyond. It will not just talk about the sources. It will not just talk about the accuracy of the information. It is going to deals with some more questions. And what are the important questions are? First of all, the media outlet. On which media outlet we are receiving this particular news from? We know that we have diversified media outlets nowadays. So we need to identify specifically that from which media outlet we are receiving this particular information. Is it a print media or maybe electronic media, or it can be a promotional platform? So as a communication person, we need to understand that what kind of format it is offering to us. We know that in news also we have diversified format. It can be an opinion piece, it can be an editorial, it can be an article, or maybe a feature. And when we talks about television news formats, so it can be a debate show or maybe a bulletin. And we know that the content of a bulletin, the news listed on a bulletin, is might be quite reliable. Why? Because it is a news story. But when it comes to opinion, when it comes to debate discussion program, so it is a kind of platform, it is a kind of format which are providing us, which are on platform where the spokesperson of a particular party or a particular institutions are just promoting the ideas of their institutions. So they are opinionated content, right? So here we would be able to, when we are observing the things more clearly, we need to be identified specifically that which kind of program we are watching to, what kind of content is this, is it a news story, and there is one more thing that we need to understand, that every piece of information is being written for a different purpose. Especially when it comes to media messages, every piece of media messages have some different orientation, different purpose. So we need to identify, we should be able to identify that what kind of purpose this particular media messages are carrying to, and who is the target audience for this particular media message. Sources. We need to identify the sources of the media messages, from which source this information, this news story is coming to us. Is it an authoritative sources, the authorized sources, or the unauthorized sources? Manifested content. The content of the media should be should be studied in a proper way. We know that manifested content is something which directly tells us that what is there, what the content is saying, what is the meaning of the content. And we have latent content also. So and then we have agenda setting. We know that we are well familiar with the agenda setting theory, which tells us that media sets the agenda for debate and discussion. So many communication scholars believes that nowadays media not just sets the agenda for debate and discussion, but also it tells us that in which perspective, in which direction we are going to study, or we are going to see those issues. So then now framing is considered as an extension of agenda setting theory. So framing is all about uh, presentation of a message in a specific light. So it is all about that how the message is being promoted, or how the message is being presented in a how the important aspects of a message is being highlighted into a specific direction, how the message is being framed, and how the audience, and in which context the audience are going to perceive the message. So framing is done not only at the end of the media, it also happens at the end of the users, the receivers, the audience. So media framing is there, audience framing is also there, and then we need to also understand the alliances, that what from which sources we are receiving our information to, and what kind of alliances it has. Our sources, what is the main income source for our sources, from where they are getting funds to, and what who is the major advertiser for our source. So all these questions should be explored when I'm saying when we are dealing with the questions of news literacy. So because communication scholar students are already media literate, they already knows about the functioning of a media, they already are well acquainted with the questions media poses in front of them. So along with those understandings, we need to go beyond that. We need to see the other side of the coin too. What is the motive of this particular information or content or news, that is something we should be able to identify. Motives. We know that every piece of information has some motives. As I mentioned, that purpose is there, the motives are there. So, the motives, we know that it can be psychological motives or maybe ideological, political, and economical motives. So, if we wanted to be a news literate, apart from having the when I'm saying critical thinking skills, as a communication students, we need to ask ourselves these many questions. What is there between the lines, the latent content? What is written in between the lines? What is there? What is the exact meaning of this particular message? How the issue is being highlighted to a specific light? How it is, because why we are talking about it, because the information and the accuracy of information is something which is very important. The accuracy of the news is very important because we are going to take decisions on the basis of that. That is why having a skills of critical thinking, we need to understand about these many aspects, because after acquiring the knowledge about these things, we can only understand the news literacy properly. So news literacy we are seeing as in critical thinking skills, and fact checking is all about skills development that we can develop it, right? And today, as I mentioned earlier, it is expected from a communication practitioner that we should have a simple understanding about what fact checking is and how to acquire that skills. And we would be talking about the strategies in the later slides. And before that, we need to understand the contemporary information disorder, that what is going on in the information ecosystem nowadays. We know that today we are receiving information from multiple platforms 24 into 7. Nowadays, we have social media from where there is constantly free flow of information towards us. So these are few facts for your understanding. There are 70,000 plus Google searches per second. 50 crores blogs are written every day. 500 crores of videos are uploaded to YouTube every minute. And 350 billion photos are uploaded to Facebook every day. 500 million people uses Instagram stories and every day, and 6,000 tweets are posted on Twitter every second. So these are the data basically which tells us that what kind of information flood we are facing to. We are receiving a kind of surge of information disorder today, because we need to understand the fact that when we receive information from all the directions without any filter, there are the chances that we may fall for misinformation. We will not be able to understand, we will not be able to identify that this piece of information or news may be accurate. So why making sense of news is important? Because we know that we are already aware about the power of media. We know that media are having some enormous power today. We know that we spend a significant amount of our daily our time each day engaging in the media content, engaging in the media messages. And these messages, the news, we are the basic reason for our informed decisions. So we are well aware about the power of media, that how media and news are influencing our lives to the extent. And news is something which general people tends to take it as a truth, right? Whatever appears in media, people tends to take it as a truth and they believe in news. News is something which is, as I mentioned earlier, because of news we get to know that what is happening in our society, what is happening at the international stage. So there is a battle not only about the speed, but speed and accuracy, right? So we know that we want information instantly. We wanted to have information instantly. We want all the information quickly, as soon as possible the event happens. And media also are facing this phase of battle between speed and accuracy, where preference is being given to the speed nowadays. Everybody wants to be number one. They wanted to break the story as fast as they can, right? So what we are seeing today in our information ecosystem, that there is some kind of battle between the speed and accuracy, fiction over facts. We love stories, and we wanted to know more about the things. We generally get a sense of entertainment also when we get to hear a lot of stories what has happened. But somewhere in our joy of receiving in this particular joy, we somewhere forgets about facts, right? So if you pay attention to the contemporary information ecosystem, you will find that nowadays uh, we are surrounded with a lot of narratives, but we are hardly caring about the facts. And we had faced, and in fact we had experienced this particular phenomena in last 1.5 years, where we had received so many stories regarding COVID-19. We heard stories, the lot of narrative has been built around COVID-19, narrative related with food. Sometimes we were receiving stories regarding that if we are taking specific food, we will be safe from corona. If we are taking specific medicines, we will be safe from corona, right? We will be safe from COVID-19. Narrative stories regarding particular region that they are responsible, such kind of rumors based stories we were hearing during that particular period. So we have seen that how we had given preference to the stories over facts. And we know that today, in today's age, we all are ideological driven. We all are loaded with a lot of biases, and we are human beings. It is quite common, right? It's a common thing that all of us have some kind of biases. Those biases can be a regional bias, maybe language bias, or specifically in our society we see a lot of instances of gender biases, color biases, right? So our opinions, the sad part of this is having biases to is completely okay, but we should not influence by those when we take important decisions. So opinions loaded with biases are creating situation, a kind of a difficult situation for the other person to understand what the reality is being. And here I would like to make it a point that we know that journalists are not allowed to mix up their opinion into a news story. We know as a communication practitioner that news are always based on facts. Journalists, media persons, they are not allowed to mix up their own opinion into a news stories, because the virtue of news are balance, objectivity, truthfulness, accuracy, right? So but that is why usually people believes on news story, because news stories are completely based on facts and there is no mix up of opinion into the news story. But nowadays what we are seeing a lot of content which is being presented to us in the shape of news, but they are actually not up to the mark, which is not proving the standard of the news, because they are the content, because it is a content driven by biases, driven a kind of loaded with personal beliefs. And the new technologies are ever changing. We are today we have lot many applications, lot many softwares are there by which things can be manipulated to the extent, right? And also making sense of news is important, because generally media messages are written and are transmitted with a message, with a purpose, with a purpose, and the core purpose of media messages is to inform, to educate, and to entertain. But there are some other content too, other types of content too, which are being written and disseminated for the personal motives. We know us about propaganda, which is a persuasion with self-interest. So, a lot of propaganda content are also there in the information ecosystem today, and it is being transmitted with the motives. So, making sense of news is important, because we need to identify that what the motives this particular message is being carried. So that is why we need to understand about news literacy more, and from where we are receiving our information to, and because we have today social media, so we should be able to identify that what the functioning of traditional as well as social media. What is the difference between the two? We know that today the line between the broadcaster and the user has been blurred completely with the advent of social media. Nowadays, anyone with the smartphone device in our hand, we can transmit, we can be a broadcaster today. So this line, which earlier there used to be a clear-cut division that who are the broadcaster, and there is a different set of people, those who are the receiver. But with the advent of social media, it has been blurred completely. We can post anything, whatever we want to. We can write any Instagram story today. We can share anybody's post on our Facebook wall without even thinking about the facts. Generally in traditional media, we have professionals for the purpose of gatekeeping. We know that journalist goes to the assigned beach, and journalist doesn't collect all the information they receives in the field. Journalists generally apply some filters and specifically pick only those stories, those who are going to impact their target audience, those who are carrying some kind of value, those who are going to uh, a kind of those who are the stories, those who are related with the lives of the people, right? So that is why a journalist is applying some filter and doing some kind of gatekeeping there in the field, and they are picking some important stories for us. After the journalist submits a story on and submit it to the desk also do some kind of gatekeeping with the help of editing. Language editing is being done, facts editing is being done, and the story is also verified from the other sources too. So journalist is doing their proper verification, checking the story from multiple sources, trying to keep the balance in the story by giving the two-party version, by trying to include everyone's version, those who are involved in the story. So journalist is also trying to maintain the ethical standard of the news. And we have desks also, those who are doing the gatekeeping. The final gatekeeping is being done by the resident editors, by the group editors also, sometimes by the page makers also, because they also sometimes cut the story from the bottom. We already knows about the functioning of media, and we know that the traditional media are trying their best to serve the well checked, cross verified important stories to us. But when it comes to social media, there is no gatekeeping is being done. Everyone can be a broadcaster today. We are not caring about the verification part in social media. Who's doing the verification for us? No one. We are not doing any verification before sharing anything. Gatekeeping, there's no question of gatekeeping. Whatever information is coming, there's no one to look into no ombudsman is there. The credibility, if when there's no verification, no gatekeeping is being done, so the credibility is a big question in the social media platforms. No one is accountable for any word. We cannot find the source also, that what is the source of this particular information. No accountability, no gatekeeping, no verification is being done. So do you think that the content we receive from social media is credible? No, it is not. So we need to ponder upon some important questions, such as from where we are receiving our information and news from. Are these informations accurate to form an opinion? Are these informations are adequate to take decisions? Because we should understand this fact that our decisions are made on the basis of the available information. So if you are not getting the right information, then our decisions might not be right. And this problem is disastrous. Why it is disastrous? Because it is not just limited to us, it is actually having impact on the society. We know that media is having enormous impact on the society, and whatever is appearing in the media is going to impact the society directly, right? So a lot of events we have seen in the past 2-3 years that happening because of the unverified information, Sometimes such kind unverified information triggers the unfortunate events to an extent. We have seen that uh, in many cases, lot many cases of mob lynching, the reason was a kind of unverified WhatsApp messages which was circulated among the people of the local area. In fact, in 2018-17, we have witnessed a lot more incidents of regarding the mob lynching incident. Specifically, this case, when we were hearing stories regarding that there is a group of people, those who are kidnapping the child. So, this unverified message is being circulated in more than 7 to 8 states, claiming that this particular incident is belongs to this particular area. Like this particular message, which you are seeing on the screen, WhatsApp forward, is being circulated in particular states by mentioning that this incident happens in Bangalore, maybe, or maybe Jharkhand, or maybe Punjab. But that was completely based on rumors. It was not correct. It was not a kind of. It was completely a fake message. Proves to be a fake message later on, which led to the cases of mob lynching. तो मॉब लिंचिंग की लगातार काफी घटनाएं हुई देश भर में और करीबन 30 लोगों को इनफैक्ट मौत के घाट उतार दिया गया बिकॉज ऑफ दिस अनवेरिफाइड मैसेजेस एंड नॉट ओनली दिस वी नो दैट lot more communal conflict is being triggered because of viral video or viral message and later after the verification the fact checkers have found that that was completely based on fake. It was fake message. It was created by some particular group of people, those who doesn't want us to live in a peace, right? So such kind of incidents are happening in our society. That's why this awareness about news literacy is something which is very important, and it is because it's impacting our lives directly. And CRB has also released some data that 214% rise in the cases related to the fake news rumors. So fake news stories are triggering the riots. They are basically pushing the India's crime rate by 28% during the pandemic time also. The stories regarding rumors on child abduction, which triggers the mob lynching, the fake, and the reactions, because we react so quickly on these messages. Our reactions are so quick that we never think about the facts. We don't want to verify it, but this is not a good practice. And let me tell you, it is going to harm us to the extent. So that is why, especially when, as a communication perspective, when we are learning, when we are exploring the questions regarding news literacy and fact checking, we need to understand the fact that it is actually a new skills, and we should acquire this particular skills. And also, we will have to spread this awareness into the society also, because there are people, those who spread such messages. We have such people in our families too, right? We keep on spread such kind of rumors without even checking it. So when we are saying fake news, we know that in communication, news is such a high regarded word, because by news only we get to know that what is happening in our society. So fake news is not considered a good word. So we can call a fake message, or maybe a fake video, viral video, fake content maybe. And there are two important key terms which are associated with the information disorder. So we should avoid calling this the fake content as a fake news, because news is something which is a high regarded word, and we know that we can call it as a misinformation maybe. So what is misinformation? It basically is an umbrella term to describe false, misleading, or out of context material regardless of the motivation behind it. So misinformation is something which is done unintentionally, and unintentional forward, because a person who has received a message, a person has received a fake message, but he or she believes that it's a true, and they generally forward it into the groups of their family members, to their loved ones, thinking that the message is true. but it is not, right? So it is an act of misinformation. And then we have disinformation, which is a deliberated attempt to mislead others. So in disinformation, we know that a kind of a propagandist is there, which who wants to communicate, who wants to propagate their ideas, their a kind of their ideologies onto the others, and want to influence the others' thinking process. So this information is always done with a purpose, often to persuade others and to influence their thinking process in a certain way, to make money, or maybe for the political reasons, and for the purpose of promotion also. So we need to be very clear about what kind of piece of information is this and whether it falls under the category of misinformation or disinformation. And because we need to understand the information disorder today, which is happening in the information ecosystem. There are different types of information disorder. We had discussed about misinformation, which is a false information disseminated without any harmful intent. We have disinformation created and shared by people with harmful intent, unscientific claims, hoax and rumors, false context. We know, I would like to explain it also. Unscientific claims are claims which are being made without any evidences. There is no evidences to that, no scientific proven material, which we have seen, as I mentioned earlier, with the help of examples, that during corona phase, messages related with COVID-19 were circulating like anything. And all those, most of the messages were based on unscientific claims. So some messages might be simply a hoax, or maybe based on rumors. False context, the picture might be accurate. The picture is accurate, truth, based on truth. But the narrative associated with the picture might not be correct. So it will fall onto the category of the false context. The image is correct, but the context is not correct. It's fake. So imposter content we have seen when the logo is being imposed, the news channel's logo is being imposed on the rumors-based stories, so that the people will think that it's an outcome of a news channel. Manipulated content also we are seeing when the lot of doctored content people are using nowadays in audio, in text, in video also. Satire or parodies, the content which are just made for fun, for the entertainment purpose maybe. And online scape, nowadays we are seeing a lot of phishing mails are coming. The challenge of identity theft is there. And we have clickbaits too. Clickbaits, which bets us to click more so that the other person can earn money out of it. And the content generated for the purpose of propaganda. So we need to understand these types of information disorder to understand news literacy in a better way. We know that such fake content comes to us in the form of text, photograph, and video. And now we'll move forward to the skills development part, and that is fact checking. So when I'm saying fact checking is basically, in the context of information disorder, is a process of determining the truthfulness and accuracy of official published information. It may be a political statement or news reports which can influence the masses. So this content can be anything. We are as a communication scholars, we generally study the content of communication. Lot of content analysis are being done today, just to see that what is there in between the lines, what is the manifestant content is saying, what is the latent content is saying. So we'll move forward, and in our country there are a lot of initiatives are being taken up by different people, different groups. There are some independent initiatives by the journalists, freelancers. They had already initiated in the form of websites. There are specific fact-checking websites. The fact checkers there usually verify the viral videos and photographs for us, and just post it on the their websites. And there are initiatives by different media organizations too. Nowadays, media organizations are keeping a separate desk for the purpose of fact checking. Especially fact checkers are being appointed for the purpose of fact checking, and media organizations are quite serious about their content nowadays, especially the established media organizations. Some of the media organization has also started some program on fact checking where they are checking, verifying any particular viral videos, or maybe a photograph, or maybe a text. And government has also initiated their fact checking page by the name of PIB Fact Check. Press Information Bureau has started its separate page during COVID-19 phase, and they are verifying the information regarding COVID-19, and they are doing it in the case of viral videos and photographs which are related with the governmental announcements. So you can also visit the PIB fact check page, which is there on the FB, also Facebook page. Then there are a lot of international agencies, those who are joining the hands with the local agencies here in India, like international fact-checking organizations, international fact-check networks, volunteer institutes. Google News initiatives also had joined hands with data leads and internews here in India, and has started lot and kind of programs here just for the purpose of spreading awareness to the masses regarding media and information literacy. Not many media educators has certified nowadays they are certified trainers and disseminating this awareness among the masses, among the media students. Lot many workshops has been conducted in the last 2 years, and nowadays BBC has also launched one program for their for the school kids, for the young minds of the country, just to spread this understanding on media and information literacy, so that the people can understand the importance of information, so that the people can understand that accessibility of information is important, but the accuracy of the information is equally important, so that we can make a sense of the news, that what's this news story is saying, what is the meaning, in which frame this news story is being presented to us. So these kind of initiatives are happening in our country nowadays. Initiatives by independent journalists, fact checkers, in the form of fact checking websites like Alt News, Vishwas News, Boom Live, by different media organizations. Government initiatives are also there, and international initiatives are also there. You can see the glimpses. First Draft has also initiated. UNESCO has a separate reading material on fake news and disinformation. This complete handbook is available for the journalist for the purpose of education and training. I mentioned about Factshala. Lot many workshops are being conducted just to spread media literacy among people. Google News Initiative, Volunteer Institute. So all these initiatives are being taken up by the journalists today, journalists and media educators. So now we'll move forward to the text verification part. Very quickly, I would like to tell you about how we can perform such fact-checking activities at our end. So if you came across with any fake information, fake text, or maybe fake message, what you can do, just identify important key term out of the message. You can just identify specific keyword and just try to use your power searching techniques to explore more about the news story. Google Fact Check Explorer is one of such tool where generally when we search anything on Google, on any, or maybe Yahoo, and on any search engine, we get thousand and lakhs responses. We get results in lakhs sometimes, most of the times, in fact. But if you are checking, if you wanted to check and cross check, and you wanted to see that whether this particular news story is appeared in other sources too, you can take the help of Google Fact Check Explorer, where you can exactly type the key term and the results, and there will be results, and the results will be only from the fact checking websites. तो गूगल फैक्ट चेक एक्सप्लोरर में अगर आप की टर्म सर्च करते हैं तो आपका जो सर्च आएगा वो सिर्फ फैक्ट चेकिंग वेबसाइट्स का ही सर्चेज आएगा. That means as I told you earlier, that there are fact checkers, there are independent initiative by freelancer, by fact checkers, those who are already doing it for us. They're already checking a lot of viral content for us, and they're verifying it. They put their fake or fact stamp on such content. It, checking fact check websites can be a great help for us. Checking other media sources also can be helpful in this direction, and we can also incorporate some advanced search techniques while searching about text. And we can search it from the advanced, like the site option. We can check it in the Google website version. We can apply time filters also. In the settings, we have this option of time settings where we can custom our search range by selecting the specific dates. It will help us to understand that whether this particular news story, whether this particular image is in the same context, the context is accurate or not. So we can apply the power searching techniques here. And if we will have to verify and photograph, what we need to do, first of all, we will have to crop the photograph separately from the narratives. That means we will have to keep aside the caption, and we will have to we should keep we should crop the photograph and then search it. We have options for the same. We can take the help of this Google reverse image search. You might have seen this camera icon in the Google's website version, where you can upload the photograph by clicking on the camera icon, and Google will show you, any search engine will show you the visually similar responses. If visually similar searches are there, visually similar photographs are there, then Google will tell you that this particular photograph has appeared in such stories, in such places, right? So we can take the help of Google reverse image search in the case of photo verification. In smartphone, we can also download Google Lens, which will show us the similar instances, visually similar responses. And about video verification, because it is something which needs kind of your efforts, right? So if you have to check any viral video, that whether it's accurate or not, you can take the help of some tools like InVid. InVid is a plugin which comes plugin of a Chrome, and which will break the video into frame-wise frame. So if you upload your video in InVid plugin, InVid will break the video into many images. And after that, you can search any fourth or fifth image with the help of Google reverse image search. Just try to click the right side and you will get the option of Google reverse image search. So InVid is breaking down the video into the frame-wise frame. Same is the case with Amnesty International's initiated YouTube data viewer, where you can post the exact URL of the YouTube video, and you will get many more information regarding the YouTube video, about the date at when it was uploaded. You will also get the frame-wise frame details, so that you can perform your Google reverse image search later on. Also, you can take the help of Fact Check Explorer. Right. So before doing that, the first and foremost thing is to work and is to think as a journalist. Generally, journalists perform a fact-checking process. Generally, it's a task of a journalist. While covering stories from the field, a journalist, every time he or she performs such task, they works as a detective sometimes, right? So what you need to do, you will have to just revisit your journalistic skills once again, and just try to see that what the background is saying. What is the background of the video? It might give you a lot of clues and details regarding the news stories, the event. What kind of sound is coming from the background? What kind of language the people are using to? Insignia, is there is any insignia, any landmark is showing in the background? What the number plate is saying. For example, if the video is claiming that this particular video belongs to a particular state, you can verify it by seeing the number plates of the vehicle. If vehicles are moving in the background, if 4 or 5 vehicles moves with the same number plate showing a specific state, you can identify, no, this particular video doesn't belong to this place, right? So background, sound, insignia, landmark, number plate, clothing of people, languages they uses, what kind of weather it is, right? So such kind of basic information, basic observation will leads us towards truth. So when we are performing any fact checking activities, we need to think about these important clues, and we will have to work as a detective, as I mentioned. And fact checkings is a very a kind of, it's, although if you wanted to be want to be a fact checker, it will need your efforts. You need to practice it more, but there are important tools which will helps you in the process, as I mentioned about Google reverse image search. Then we have InVid, Google Fact Check Explorer, by which you can see the results of different fact checking websites. And source verification is something which is very important, because we should be aware of about that from which source this information is coming to. So while checking the source, we should just try to explore, see that the information is just it is looking believable or not. Are there any evidences associated with the news story? Is it trustworthy? What is the source is saying? Is it a new proper verified news sources, or it is from any maybe any entertainment website, or maybe satire based website? So source verification is something which is very important, and we know the 5 Ws and 1H principles. So we will have to apply the same principle here while checking the source, so that we can specifically identify that this information belongs to valid source or not. And now I would like to offer some solution. If we want to save us from the information disorder, we need to balance our media diet, which means that we will have to create a balance. We will have to create a good proportion, that major source of information, our major intake of news and information should come from authentic, verified, traditional news sources. And definitely we will have to see social media websites also to know that what is there in the trend, right? So we will have to maintain a good balance, and we will have to take up good balanced media diet, and so that to ensure that the all the information we are receiving are accurate enough. And then I told you about the journalistic skills, which is very important for the purpose of fact checking. And also we should be care about our digital footprint. What kind of information we are giving to the social networking sites these days? We are well aware about the fact that there are filter bubbles. There is a game of algorithm, and there are echo chambers too. So we should be able to explore those areas so that we can explore more about social media, so that there should not be any case of identity theft, right? So digital footprint is something which is the need of the hour, that we need to be ensured that what kind of footprints we are leaving behind on the social media. And also the fact checking skills are required nowadays. The verification is something which is very important, and you can perform this with the help of available tools. Understanding of about news literacy will give you an edge. We need to develop this critical thinking skills in our habit, right? So that we can become a responsible media users. We can be a responsible media users when we think about others. Before sharing, we should be thinking about that whether this particular news story is accurate enough, what kind of impact it is going to make on people. So with that note, I would like to end my presentation, and I hope that we should be able to understand this particular fact, that news literacy is something which is the need of the hour. And to obtain that, it is our duty, it is the duty of the communication persons and practitioners to ensure that the free flow of information should be maintained, and the information which we are receiving, it should be based on facts. With that note, I thank you all for joining in this particular session. Thank you. Namaskar.